Today I'm going to be talking about some things that we saw through this course content. So I'm just going to be looking at different parenting styles and the impact that they have on adolescents. Obviously, it's a critical stage in adolescence. They're going through a lot of development, like identity, independence, and emotional regulation. So this stage of their life is heavily influenced by their parenting style that they're surrounded by because they're in this environment quite a lot. So this is my poster. I know it's not very good, but this is what I'm working with. For setup. So first I'm going to talk about authoritarian. So this is very strict and high expectations. So basically what happens here, let's say the child gets in trouble, there's not a lot of communication between the parent and the child. It's basically just like, here's the consequence. There's no reason why you have to listen to this. The standards are super high. And obviously this has a really big impact on the teen. They may be obedient, but they lack in happiness. They have weaker social skills and higher anxiety, obviously because they're constantly in this like fight or flight mode. Secondly, we have authoritative. So this is like the healthiest kind parenting style that we see. So this is high responsiveness and high demand. So basically they respond to their child's needs. There's open communication. The child can go to them with their concerns. The child knows the rules, the expectations, and there's an explanation for them. So the teen is impacted here by high self-esteem, better academics, and stronger social skills, more likely to have those better relationships with their peers as well. Third, we have indifference. So this is basically there's a lack of demand. There's also a lack of responsiveness. So typically the parents are emotionally detached. They're not too worried about where their child is, who their child's hanging out with, what type of activities their child is partaking in. They kind of just let their child do what they do. And this affects the teen by lower self-esteem, poor self-control, and emotional and social skills struggle to be presented in a healthy way. And then lastly, we have indulgence. So this is a lack of demand, but very high responsiveness. So for example, the kid just finished soccer. They're crying because they want ice cream. Instead of the parent explaining why they're not going to get ice cream, the parent just gives in and responds to their crying, gives them what they want. So there's not a lot of like standards or rules here. So this affects the teen obviously because they are going to be typically socially skilled, pretty well, confident, although they're going to struggle with like impulsivity or following the rules, authority figures, or like regulating their emotions. So I chose to do this topic because it really does matter. It has a very big impact on teens. It shapes how adolescents will handle different day-to-day conflicts like stress, anxiety, school, like conflict between peers or conflict between teachers and themselves, or, partaking in risky behavior or not, in the way that they identify and build this identity for their future. So the takeaway here that I wanted to focus on is that the most effective approach is fostering a good connection. So strong emotional support with also like these combined expectations and guidelines. So, you don't want to just be like, here, go have the best day ever. Like you deserve the world, but you also want to have like these standards and expectations for your child so that they can understand, different authority and rules and not just be reckless all the time. So therefore, in conclusion, the way in which we parent, the parent supports the child and guides them through life really matters. So punishments and demand are not always a bad thing. These really do help shape, open communication, support, understanding boundaries again. And then all these parenting styles also depend deeply on so many other factors. So like, foster care, psychological disturbances. Is the child, developing typically, atypically? How are they doing in school? How is their connection with peers and other family members, single parent homes? There's a lot of factors to this, but the one that we suggest the most and the healthiest kind is the authoritative. So having, a balance between those restrictions, guidelines, rules, and then also responding to the child's needs. So yeah, this is my poster again. I hope you enjoyed and have a great day.